Basically, my first salary was around 1,712 rupees. Today, if I look at my 60% of the needs are fulfilled by passive income. Myself, Ravindra, when you talk about the personal finance, I just started as a hobby, maybe somewhere around 15, 20 years back. When we started, as usual, like I was always looking at my father and that generation, right? The struggle. My father was an agriculturist. Earlier, he had a small hotel kind of a structure in Bangalore. I have one younger brother and one younger sister, maybe in the 450 kilometers away from here. Because I'm being the elder in the family, I was closely looking at my father's, my mother's struggle. And as I told that my father was able to meet only the needs of us, right? That also was a bit of a challenge certain times where we had to suffer, me and my younger brother. So, and this upbringing, and then I'm moving from my manufacturing day, working days to the IT world, nothing changed significantly, like how my nature is basically like looking at more of a minimalistic lifestyle.
Right.
It's not a frugal, it's a
Can you
minimalist.
help explaining the difference?
Wow, for me, the minimalistic here is having a clarity of what is your need, what is your desire, right? And then you assess your desire to see that what value it brings. Maybe an example would, if I want to have a car, now car can be desire for fuel, need for fuel. It became a need for me when I was about expecting my daughter. But rather than like what market offers me, I was looking at what is my need. It is not, again, everybody says that I am expecting car to be less than 10 lakhs. No, I was looking more into that. Is it safety important? Is mileage important? Is it comfort important? Or is it a nice looking dashboard is important? What is my need? At that time, what I did, I bought a second-hand car because for my need, that was enough for me. Now, frugal life means you might thinking that why should I have a car?
We talk about the inflation because inflation keeps changing and we hear 6%, 7%, but we hear the wholesale price. As the life moves, my standard of living moves, and that costs my inflation. The cost of my living is increasing at maybe more than 6%. So how did you cope up with that?
There are some external factors, talked about CPI, or the inflations, or even the repo rate increase, or what RBI does. It is nothing in your control. We look at where we don't have a control and we try to control that. If people say 6%, 7% inflation, I can easily tell it is not 8 or 7, it is actually certain times 13%, certain times 6%, certain times it went negative also for me because my needs have changed. I've been tracking my daily expenses from 2010. That's my 30 years now. What is most important for me to understand is how my needs are changed. Like when my child was small, she grown up, and suddenly we see from our own point of view, our medical expenses might go a little high. Yes. My parents are in that stage. So basically it is looking at inward than the outward factors. See from your side, what is your expense? You know your income very well.
Yes.
The thing which is not easy for you is tracking the expense. If you start tracking the expenses, then you know that, I'm supposed to an example, if my earning is 10,000, say my expenses is 8,000, then I should target that where is my another 2,000 is going. Am I saving that? Am I investing that? What I'm doing? Any company you take, they have a profit and loss. They have a balance sheets, right? Then why can't we imply, when it comes to your point, don't look at the inflations and down. Nothing is in your control. Look at where you can be. So this is what the Japanese were talking about Kaizen, right? Small improvements. Think about the small improvements and apply that.
So let's talk about your early journey, your first salary, how long back, and what were the few first 2-3 major financial challenges that you saw?
I'll go by the chronology so that audience can make out what mistakes I done. I started my first earning somewhere when I was on 12th standard.
Oh,
yeah. 12th standard is mainly, as I told you, I need to support my family. And my brother, younger brother, he was still at the time was on 9th standard, where we started with catering services, where you used to get the money for that, like serving in any of the marriage or any of the occasions and all. That's where we started because that was a bit easier for us to enter at the time. So that first step has given me a kind of a lesson to my life is that it is not about the money, it's about the value it brings, right? The value. And for a $50, you have to spend 3 hours. You have to do all that kind of a work where you feel that you earn that 30 rupees.
You got the feel of money very early.
From there, I started, then completed my study, and then I got into an manufacturing industry. Don't believe my first salary was around 1,712 rupees. Yeah. So,
How long back?
oh wow, it's 22 years back. The only thing was you need to manage that 1,712, and how do you manage, and all this was, again, this is all planning what we see. The planning started somewhere in that time. I joined as a fresher. What I did in these 5 years was I was working in that manufacturing, been into many domains of that manufacturing industry, learn how the finance work, how the purchase work, how the production works. I was moving into at least 5-6 roles in that 4.5 years I stayed. And even then I went into an IT. Yeah, then I thought maybe I need to enhance my certifications, right? I've been to many certifications, did my MBA. So it's basically like I was ready for my next career jump. And with having a lot of background knowledge and all. So basically like how the organization runs, getting into a domain knowledge, and then how the domain knowledge can be fit into an IT world and all. Then it was easy for me to shape up my IT journey. Again, the main thing for me was I had a good advisors throughout my life, thanks to them. So this is a very important lesson. When you say that if things are not working, you need to find at least a couple of people who are good in that area, who can support you without any bias. Thanks to God, many times I had that kind of a people. Now, the challenges, what you asked, financial challenges. Now, in this chronology when I was working in the manufacturing industry, hardly I was able to save because I was investing a lot on my own career. And then I was also looking after my family need along with my father. But one thing which was always at the time, people used to chase you for the policies.
Yep.
Yeah, endowment, money back, all these kind of policies. Then I also invested on one of the money back policies at that time. So that was my investment, if you ask me. Right? So I called it that as an investment, right? And somebody came and sold me the ULIPs. I can't put the blame onto that person, right? He was doing his job very diligently. Then suddenly somebody said, hey, now what are you going to do for the tax savings? Some surplus I was investing on this TLSS mutual funds. Okay, that's how my journey was started. 2008, somewhere I started small portion of investment on shares.
So perfect timing to start when the market is correct.
Exactly. And this is what happened to me. And I was at that time was in US and hearing a lot about this 2011 Brothers collapse. Whatever I invested is all gone for toss. What I did in panic, I sold everything. Okay. With huge loss at the time, I sold everything, and then I thought it's my fate, right? So then I realized that after 2009, the market was going up. So then I went again and entered the market when market was in peak. Okay. And that's where you start learning. I said, 2008 it came down, I sold. When I invested in 2010 and 2011, 12, what happened? I was doing more of a like averaging, right? 2018, I was like, yeah, the market was good. Somehow I was making profit, mainly with the mutual fund because I was investing towards, when I started, that I didn't sold, right? I keep on, that was giving a good result because I gave up to 8 or 10 years for that time, right? But on the shares and all, it was not up and down many times. And when I realized in 2018, again I sold everything. 2011 till 18, my priority was in the career, right? I was focusing more on career, my own personal things, like I got married, and many things I was doing on personal front. Now, what I was doing is only averaging where it was, I was in huge losses and the shares I was averaging that. This is the period where I saw that what led me to this. Right? It is not about the money I lost, obviously it will hurt, the way I lost. So I was following mostly what people say. Today somebody comes and tells you that buy this stock, I used to buy. Yeah. Somebody comes and tells you sell this stock, I used to sell.
Reacting.
Spot on, right? So then I realized it took me 6 months. I said, enough is enough. This 6 months I will not invest, but I will invest on myself, on my learning. I did all this kind of like, you won't believe too much of readings. That really helped me to understand that, okay, I should respond now. rather than reacting, right? The response came up in that way is that I start looking at in detail rather than what people are saying. I was thinking why this person is asking me to sell now, or why this person is saying to buy now.
Because now you understood. You're reading and
Is there any event is planned, or is that company is not doing well, or is their sales going down, profit going down? Is there any leadership change happened, or is there any competition which find it difficult for that organization or that particular sector? Like I was not only looking at the companies, but also looking at the sectors. Not every sector.
What I'm understanding from you is, I think if I go back to 2001 until now, your best investment is on yourself. 2001 you invested on yourself to certify and get ready for IT.
Yeah.
And 2018 you certified yourself for the investing. So Ravi, when we talk about our growth, the major part comes in when you have milestones. You got married, you have kids, or education, and so on. So, and then your retirement and the other milestones. So, have you done any planning? And can you share those calculator or those thoughts behind it?
End of the day, what you do is that you put some values, you take out some values, and then you see that, that should be, Where it precisely matters to me is there is a data, I set all these Excels, then there is a decisions I need to make. Well, so when you said a financial freedom, so financial freedom comes only to me when I see that how much I trust the data what I have. And even today, if you ask me whether that data is sufficient, may not be, because that is a historical data. Whether my histories will be the same like my present or future, it may not be, because things are changing quite fast. Advancement of technology is quite happening fast. Our own surroundings are getting changed. And nobody was expecting COVID will come and disrupt many things. The needs suddenly gets changed, like where you focus more on your well-being, your health, your fitness. In that sense, I have this data.
Yeah.
I can foresee what can happen my next 5 years, 10 years, or till the retirement. Two questions which we normally get to ask. One is that when I can retire. The second set of question is 5 crore is enough, 10 crore is enough to retire.
Just to tell you, these two questions were in my bucket. So, thank you.
For me, these both two questions are irrelevant.
Huh?
Why? Because
Interesting.
End of the day, you are retiring. You want to retire.
Right.
You want to have that corpus. First, look at the milestones. You talked about milestones. So you know when they will come for a 10th, when they move into the next class of journey. And then you also know that when your normal retirement age will come. And many times even I will say, people laugh at me. If I see that average life in my DNA or the lineage is something around 72 to 75, maybe I can put my target is to 80, 85. To know that.
Yeah.
From there you work backwards. Now it is nothing. Any Excel, anything you can do, any formula you use. What you have today is your income. What is your expenses, what asset you have, what asset you will have. Like you know that if you are a kind of a person, you every 5 years or 3 years you are going to change your car, you know, right? You need to add on to that. Then you need to add up that what are the things I need to leave it before I go off, that what are things I need to give it to my family. Add all these points into your trackers, then you see that, okay, yes, this is how I see my realistic.
What we discussed is correct. So you're saying that in 3 to 4 years, me as Ravi, from my need perspective, will be okay. But there is a mental barrier. And I want to talk to you how you broke that mental barrier. The mental barrier which is talking about, at the end of the month, I'm going to receive a message which is telling me this much amount credited to your account through salary. Then having a fear of missing out because my expenses are there. My monthly expenses, school fees, medical expenses, everything is there. Right? So, how that fear of missing out, how that mental barrier you were able to break?
Thing is, you need to trust your data. And that to trust the data, you need to have more control on where things can go wrong. Yeah. So basically, like you need to see, okay, the education, maybe my daughter might do some more extra.
Right.
Yeah. Like this, due to some unforeseen conditions. Maybe the inflation go for high in the few years, and then could be some few more disruptions on the market, and there could be few more challenges we might see. So give this all to the benefit of doubt, right? And you need to improvise. Financial freedom only comes when you know that this data you have, all this analysis you did, and then you know that, okay, this is how I am stable. That gives you confidence. That is a freedom, you see that. Then whatever comes is extra for me. The other set of that is big element, which is increase your passive income. Okay. So it's basically like, today I have only 1 or 2 streams of income. Why? How do I make sure that how I keep on building? So it doesn't happen overnight.
So before you jump on passive income, can you just share with the audience what is roughly your asset allocation?
So my high risk means is all the mutual fund shares and all investment. That might come up to 50% of my investment. And then the debt investments like maybe a fixed deposits and having some of the EPF also, I'll keep it in that factor. So it might be another 20 to 30% range. Another 20 to 30% might be some gold investment, right? And then all maybe on the real estate. For me, the real estate, if you really look at, is that an investment category? I'm not clear convinced, is mainly because I'm doing it for my living. Yeah. For me, the real estate investment makes more sense when I'm able to take out some money out of that, right? If I say investment, maybe like you own some commercial spaces where you can get the regular rents, right? And if that rent is around 7 to 8%, then it makes sense to have a rental as an investment.
And that's where I would like to come. Thank you for sharing the percentage. If we can talk about the passive income, even if I'm not earning anything actively, passive income is taking care of my whole expenses.
Yeah.
So does it hold true right now? Whole of your passive income is taken care by, or are you going towards it? And if yes, then what is the mode of your passive income?
First of all, what is passive income, right? So passive income for me is any rental I get, any fixed deposit revenues I get, any of the mutual fund or the dividends which I get, and anything for that, even the bank interest you get on a quarterly basis, right? And many times you might inherit few of the from your parents and certain things, right? So these are all nothing but it's like a passive income for you, where you're not actually knowing. I look at how much it is adding to my current needs, the percentage, and how that is going to increase on a year basis.
Right.
Yeah. First priority for me is that if I look at my retirement or anything for that matter, I'll see what percentage of my passive income satisfy that, right? There are many terms people use. 4% rule they use.
Yes.
Rule 72 they use, right? And many people use it like your income after your retirement to be 2 times of your needs. One, you will spend it anyway. The other one goes on again on the investment cycle. So like that people will talk about. Today, if I look at my 60% of the needs are fulfilled by passive income, and maybe another 40% it might require another 3 years. That is how my calculation looks like. Now it might go extra because if my need goes increases, my passive income, if suppose that doesn't increase up to that level, then I might have to stretch my limitations, right? So that is one way of looking at. Now, this is a very good indicator that how your investments are helping you to achieve your retirement goals, right? And then certain things are very straightforward, like fixed deposit interest, PPF interest, which are straightforward. You know that. Rental income, certain times it fluctuates. So you know there are 2 patterns. One is standard, one is a fluctuative, which is a risk-based. Now there also it comes like how much you want to invest in the risk-based, how much is in the flat. So in the finally, what you really need to look at, when I retire, I should see that my passive income helps me to drive my regular needs and also my desires, right? And then another part for that is that should be continuous, steady. It is not like this year I had up to 120%, suddenly it should not go up to 60% next. I should not take out that money. That if you take out that money means your invested money, then your passive income goes up.
Does it mean that you're more on the rental side, less?
Correct. So it's balancing it. If you look at where is my core strength, that also plays an important role. Right? If I believe in rental, where I'm sure that this is my core strength, where I'm sure that even on the recession I can find some rental income, where I have a property, hot property, where I'm sure that I will get that back, then that is your strength.
Yeah.
And if you say that my investment on shares is super solid, it is a recession proof, and what invested, blue chip stocks or whatever I invested, they will give me a good dividend, that is your strength, right? And if you believe that, okay, no, I still need to rely on my active income only, then go for that active income and increase that active income also.
That is very important point, that we need not to leave job always. Yeah. The only thing is, you are not looking at job for your daily needs. You're able to manage it well. If I take up my pick, I'll say focus on why. And that why for life,
Yeah.
for money, for everything, you should have a reason. And then jump forward. How, I think, is something which you can pick up. There are so many tools, technology is huge. Of course, you need to take time, but you need to invest.
Exactly. Like during our conversation, the two key takeaways which I find it is, one common message I hear from people saying that, but this is not for me. There is someone expert is there. How the person has become an expert? I don't know.
With themselves.
Then what is stopping you to become an expert? Right? Because it's on your end of the day, it's your own hard-earned money.
It also depends upon time. Ravi, don't you think so? I mean, if someone is really actively working and focusing on their area, do you think at that point of time, better to outsource to a financial planner instead of you doing things half-heartedly?
I look at it in two ways. One is that I always said prioritize. What comes to you as a priority? If job comes to your priorities, then somewhere or other this financial planning should be on your priority list. Whether it's low, medium, high, it's up to you.
Right.
But at least you should be in your tracker. Second thing about the experts you talked about, the fund managers, they're all good. But you should limit the way how you use that knowledge. If you have a good fund manager where you don't know what set of right questions you need to ask,
Well said.
that fund manager, even though he is a super good, he cannot be able to solve your problem. You should know what is your goal. You should know why I'm investing, and why you should know when I need to take out the money. It is like Google give you the answer based on the algorithms. The second thing is, what are the questions you're asking? It is all the results you're looking at. How much money I need, when I can retire, or passive income. These are all like is a result of your actions. And what drives the actions is the fundamental your needs and desires. So the person, anybody who is asking the question should be clear with what is needed for them.
Correct.
As a family, right? Not as an individual. Again, I'm talking to that. You need to look at your family, who are all you are supporting. You might be having parents or maybe your parents-in-law, whoever it is, involve them, right? Make sure that it should be like a 360-degree view, right?
Right.
So that is the life I'm living in now. And mostly thanks to my parents, thanks to the society where I brought up, and thanks to I would say the education and my ups and downs and my learning curve. It's all helped me. Many friends and many of my relatives, my brother, sister, my wife, these are all helpful. Thanks to them that I got more of people who questions me many times. Certain times when we are open, when people ask me a question, that is something